All right, everyone, just going to begin to the top prop bets that we have available on both PrizePicks and Underdog today. Already did an NBA video, already did an NFL video. So this is just going to be touching on all the best prop bets that we have across the various sports that we have. So I do just want to start with kind of recapping the bet of the day slip that I put out for PrizePicks yesterday. This is seeming to be a big edge. Every single prop bet has gotten bumped. And if this misses, or at least doesn't go 4 for 5, I'm going to be on full. For instance, JVL bumped to 22 for points and rebounds and assists. Derek White has been bumped to 9. CJ McCollum has been bumped to 9. And really the biggest one on the slate is going to be the fact that Brandon Ingram was bumped to 22.5. To me, that is very high. And so I do want to start out with just taking a peek at the NBA slate right now, because that was something that I was looking at the per 36 production with both McCollum and Zion on the court thus far this season. It was a small sample size, but Ingram only averages like 14.7 points per 36. So I was already hesitant to bet the over for him for points, even though the data was telling us to. Now it's kind of crazy, and really you have a decent chance of a middling opportunity there. All in all, feels pretty good to have that big edge. Love being on the plus side. But yeah, let's start out with NBA. And by the way, guys, feeling pretty good after the Jordan Love dominance performance last night. That felt pretty good. Anyone that's been following the channel probably knows I'd been talking up Jordan Love a bunch this season, to the point where someone in the comments actually said, you probably should stop hyping up Jordan Love. It's making you look bad. And basically my comment was, that's actually the reason why I am hyping it up, because I know eventually people will start to see it as well if they are actually paying attention to the games. And so it feels pretty darn good to be on the plus side. It does. But yeah, looking at NBA today. That was just a quick tangent, guys. I am taking a little bit of victory lap there. But yeah, NBA wise, like looking at Brandon Ingram for his points. Now they're basically giving it a push though at 22.5. So that is kind of fascinating to me. I would say I do think the better bet is going to be to bet the under there. All in all, probably don't need to place the bet there. All in all, it does seem like the lines are correct. Do want to point out though that as points and assists, the average sportsbook line would have it set at 27, and so does the projection data there. So these two are probably going to be two that get bumped, because it's favoring the over still about 53% to get over 27 for points and assists. So that is seemingly a decent one there for Brandon Ingram. From there, De'Aaron Fox for under 6.5 assists. I don't know. I don't really want to touch that. Is the statistical best one that we have. We are seeing that we have a pretty darn good bet there on Underdog for Jason Tatum for over 39.5 points and rebounds. Then another one where it's kind of vice versa. We're seeing Zion for over rebounds and assists on PrizePicks at 10.5. So we're getting two slight edges there, and that could honestly add up and be a big difference on the slate. And then from there, that does kind of seem to be it in terms of really good prop bets that we are getting on the slate NBA wise, specifically for PrizePicks. Now we did just get a lot of fantasy score props, and I do want to touch on these. Oh, it's ugly. I was literally, before I took a peek at this, I was going to say JVL over fantasy score. That's one of my favorite ones. And then Obi Toppin for over his fantasy score was going to be one that I liked as well. Let me touch on the reasons as to why. But all in all, these are probably going to be two that are stay away, because the data is telling us to do the opposite. And guys, yesterday, Sunday, was a freaking phenomenal day for the data. More on Underdog, where it absolutely crushed, but PrizePicks as well. I mean, it was a very, very good day yesterday. And so all in all, I don't want to disagree with the data too much, because that is not going to be a long-term profitable approach. But yeah, starting with JVL, guys, the reason why I don't like betting the under here is because we have seen him get around 30 minutes or so over these past few games. And if the game stays close, like Vegas is expecting, he should still get over 30 minutes or close to 30 minutes. And if he's doing that, he is a point per minute player. This is going to be a pace up spot. He is going to be still appealing to me in this game. And so that to me is like, I'm probably just staying away from that. And if we look at the projected minutes, they're only set at 28. And so if he gets more than that, I expect him to get over that. From there, Kevin Huerter's definitely a fascinating one as well. He is someone that is definitely a little bit too hit or miss to trust. Now, his projected minutes are at 29. If that happens, yeah, he's going to crush. Well, I shouldn't say that. He maybe not crush, but has a good chance to get the over. The issue that I have is that Keegan Murray is going to be back in this game. He played 23 minutes in the last game. And although that might not directly influence Kevin Huerter too much, it does play a part. And if Huerter is struggling to shoot the basketball, which can happen, I think it's more likely that he gets pulled. That's kind of the issue with the Kings, is that all in all, they are difficult to trust on a nightly basis when they're not named De'Aaron Fox or Sabonis. All in all, though, I guess I'm okay with this one. Like, the data likes it, fine with it. Obi, I want to touch on, and then Herbert Jones as well, because those are two interesting ones. I will say Zion, I do like the over for fantasy score. But yeah, let's look at these two. So now, Toppin does get a more difficult matchup, don't get me wrong, but in 2 games recently with Jalen Smith off the court, he has gotten 35 and 33 minutes. And so that, to me, is something I think is going to continue, assuming that he's healthy. And that is just what the data has been suggesting as well. It's him directly getting more minutes. And so to me, this is almost a situation where I'm saying, yeah, this projected minutes should probably be 10 higher. Now, I could be completely wrong about this, but you guys are seeing really why I added in this part of the tool, but also why the data is thinking that he could struggle. And then taking a peek at someone like Herbert Jones, all in all, you know, if he's getting 31 minutes, sure, with everyone on the court, he is really the fifth option, if that. I could see betting the under there. But those are the best bets that we have available on NBA right now for PrizePicks. Let's take a peek at Underdog. Guys, Underdog for some reason has been the bigger edge lately. And we're seeing that again with Tatum here for over 39.5 for points and rebounds. That is a prop bet that I think you guys should be making, and I'm going to make it as well. So right now, guys, here's an example of a prop bet that I'm using for the bet of the day. I think that these will make sense. I'll show you guys the Calvin Ridley one here in just a second. But with that, I do want to get into some college basketball. So college basketball wise, they are giving us some fantasy score props. Hopefully you guys have been able to take advantage of these. We are seemingly getting some edges for a lot of crazy unders, which to me is fascinating. Let's take a peek at all these. So for Peyton, we can definitely see the kind of inconsistencies there going against Purdue and Zach Edey, who, you know, this defense has been pretty solid. I could see why that'd be a concern. And also just looking at the minutes haven't exactly been there for him. Now you would assume against probably Edey that the minutes are going to be there for him, and that's probably why the line is so high. But all in all, looking at it, I can see why the data does like the under there. I mean, look at this, guys. It's pretty crazy. 20.8 is what the average sportsbook line would be at. Now, the projection data is kind of disagreeing with that. Don't love that when the projection data disagrees. Someone asked me the other day, it's like, well, how often will you place a bet when the projection data is disagreeing with the suggested line? And really, it's just that comes down to a volume thing, typically. I just won't have a high volume on that bet because obviously we like to see continuity between all the lines that we're seeing there to really gain an edge. And that's what we're seeing with Ben here. And so he's another one kind of in a more difficult matchup. And I do wonder if these two correlate or they don't correlate. If anyone's an Iowa Hawkeyes fan, let me know. But yeah, another, you know, tougher matchup. He is someone that has gained more consistent minutes, but all in all, you know, not as high in terms of production. Not someone that's typically gaining a lot of blocks and steals as well, unless it's against Arkansas State, apparently. And then, yeah, Zach Edey as well. It's very interesting. Like all three of the bigs in this game, the data's telling us to bet the under. And 50 is just such a high fantasy point total, and his production really is rooted in him getting 3 blocks or, you know, multiple blocks. Now he had 14 rebounds in the game against Northwestern, 35 points. All in all, I don't know if I agree with all 3 of them. I don't know exactly how they correlate. I would say if Edey's having a good game, I would kind of imagine the other 2 might not be, and maybe vice versa. I mean, I probably will just be running out of bet with all of them for the under, but I could see why you wouldn't want to do that. And then from there, not too many big edges. And for what it's worth, like the only one bet that we're really seeing was like a very good edge. It's going to be the top one for Peyton. But yeah, that's really it for like the best bets that we have here. Let's take a peek at Underdog. Underdog, we're not getting any big edges there just yet. So let's go and move on into NHL. Again, with NHL, the first thing I do is move the slider to the point where we're just pulling in bets that have the same line. So we're seeing this one has a chance to be the under. Personally, I probably don't like this one, although it's not terrible. One that's okay right here is this line, shots on goal for Travis for over 3. You know, my issue with these props like this, guys, is that a lot of the times they're being valued as a push. And although they're a good bet, and although you're gaining a big edge, like that can be a huge difference between a really awesome day or, you know, a push. And then this obviously just 10x. And so that's just a slight pause there. But I do want to call it this one, Jason Robertson for over 2.5 shots on goal. The projection data has it set at 3. You know, basically has a 54% chance that I'm perfectly fine rolling with that one. That is going to be my favorite NHL prop bet for the day. And I probably will be using that one. Discrepancies wise, nothing too crazy really at all. Maybe Dada, whatever. A difference in 2 kills right here is kind of a lot. We are seeing a difference in receiving yards for Tanner Hudson. He is someone that I actually like the over for on PrizePicks at 20.5. So you can bet that I'll like it at 18.5 at Underdog. That could be the difference between it cashing and not cashing. But now let's go and get into NFL. NFL-wise, that's kind of crazy. Under fantasy score for Tanner Hudson is being favored. Now, Tanner Hudson is someone that is not playing a lot of snaps. He's only playing about 30% of the snaps, but when he is playing, he's getting targeted a lot. He's had like 5 or 4 targets each of the last 3 games. And if you look at kind of the projected game script in this game, they are projected to be playing from behind. It's a 10-point spread. And so with that, I would think a pass catcher like Tanner Hudson would actually be more involved. That to me is a prop bet that I'm going to stay away from. I would actually think that the over would be the way to go there. So yeah, I don't want to touch that one. Again, I think the over receiving yards is a little bit better there on Underdog. Looking at Zay Jones for over 6 for a fantasy score is certainly intriguing. The projection data would have it set at 8.6. The average sportsbook line would have it set at 7.1, and they would be favoring the over there. So that is a slight edge that we are getting there. Probably not one I feel like we have to chase. One that's interesting to me is going to be Travis Etienne for over a touchdown. Now, yesterday, these were all pretty awesome. Biggest miss was really the difference maker in a freaking just massive bankroll building day. Najee Harris, he just missed out. The opportunity was there. I thought it was a terrible play call. I don't know, anytime a team fails to get a 1-yard gain when they run out of the spread and just the tailbacks right next to the quarterback and they do a rush like that on the goal line, I think that that is just terrible play. Like, I think if you just run it out of the I formation, he probably scores. I also think Mitchell Trubisky being in at quarterback didn't help there, because then you really knew that they were going to rush the football. Anyways, the Travis Etienne prop is one that's really popping up. I like this one. I'm a little bit surprised that maybe his fantasy score isn't popping up too much there, but all in all, not a terrible one. We are seeing Evan McPherson for under 1.5 field goals is one that's popping up there in PrizePicks. It makes sense why for Tyler Boyd, the data is favoring the under fantasy score, because they're also favoring the under 3 receptions there. So that is something that makes sense. From there, everything else does feel a little bit too tight. Maybe a little bit of correlation here with Trevor Lawrence for over fantasy score and Evan Ingram for over fantasy score. There might be some slight correlation there. And then again, yeah, Travis Etienne, it does make sense. If he's going to be scoring a touchdown, then he should be able to get his over fantasy score. This is kind of like Isaiah Pacheco yesterday, where I mentioned his over fantasy score, at least on PrizePicks. If he got that, it's going to be because he scored a touchdown, and that's exactly what happened. And you don't always like banking on touch. My biggest takeaway there. Looking at underdog, yeah, Tyler Boyd under there, really popping up. Travis Etienne, anytime touchdown is one that's popping up. Calvin Ridley, again, under 4.5 receptions. That's one of the better edges that we currently have. And then you could also see that the underdog line would also be favoring the under there as well. Out of my own personal curiosity, I wanted to see kind of what the line was suggesting here, up to 19.5 now. So don't know if we need to touch that for Tanner Hudson. So I already gave you guys the underdog bet slip for the day. I will be pulling in the Calvin Ridley prop as well still for that, where I'm betting the less than 4.5 receptions. All in all, you know, with Zay Jones back, Evan Ingram's going to get some targets. You're going to see a lot of other players get targets as well. Zay Jones, Travis Etienne, Christian Kirk, sorry. So it makes sense that the under would be favored there. And then I will roll with these. I guess I don't love that. If you want to go with Travis Etienne for over anytime touchdown, you can. There's a little bit of concern there if the game gets out of hand fast and he's not the one scoring the touchdown, then maybe we see a little bit more of De'Aaron Hurst-Johnston in an active effort to limit his snap share work. But all in all, I think I'm fine with that. And then these two I feel pretty comfortable with right now. And I will say I probably should get the Travis Etienne anytime touchdown in here. Maybe this. Maybe we take these two out. I'll just show you. So here, a slight adjustment to it then, because I don't like, I trust the data with the J-Val and Obi Toppin, but all in all, I don't know if like we want to chase that today. I don't know if that's the correct move. So I'm still going to roll with these three. I'm fine with those. Calvin Ridley, I'm also fine with. Then I wanted to add in the Travis Etienne anytime touchdown. That is a high likelihood to hit right now. That could be something that changes in FY, but CJ McCollum is one that I think we have a pretty good edge on for over fantasy. That's going to be all for today's video, guys. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate you guys being here. Hopefully, we have another good day today. If you guys want to access to the 9to5sports.com PrizePicks and Underdog cheat sheet, click the link in the description below. It is available for $10 a month. Thanks for watching, and as always, let's keep cashing.